Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic. Once again, it's another week. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for August 18th. Yeah, there's some holidays today as well as other things going on. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're in build up for All In, but holidays today, there's Feast of Assumption. That is today, National Honeybee Awareness Day, Relaxation Day, and Tomatoes Galore Day. Okay, tomatoes probably are ripening just well. I want to let you know that it's just cash today, so it might be a quick show. I've got a lot of news to get through, unless someone pops in. But right now, it's just going to be me. But I want to let you know that I are you interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. Men's team Flower City Fear FLOUR, flowercityfair.com. In fact, today, Rock City is the last home game of the season at Minette Hall. It'll be at 4 o'clock today, so you want to come check out. I'll be there. Probably be hearing me, I'm sure, as well as, and of course, Flower City Fear's got a game on the road coming up in a couple of weeks. So, hey, happy end of the season. Summer is coming to the end, and we're middle of August. School is probably already getting warmed up. I know I work in one. I've been very, very busy this past week. So hey, no, like I said, no birthdays today though. No birthdays, but I did want to mention that if you do want to catch roller derby one last time at the Minette Hall at the Dome Arena, that would be today, 4 o'clock. Check it out. Some things I want to talk about. Uh, it's hard not to address Kevin Owens and CM Punk and their promos going back and forth. Chelsea Green had some bad luck this past week. All in so far. We got a Zilla sighting, and I don't mean Godzilla. A New Day, and possibly an angle into getting into AEW might have been approached this past week, and I can live many more days without having Paul White in the commentary booth for a Dynamite. I miss Taz, so it's like it was interesting. But I do want to talk about the Osprey Omega buildup that's been going and where we're going with it. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm the Cash Man, your humble host. I'm solo. I mean, maybe the artiste might be poking in. He said, "I know that DC is busy, so we will see what happens." I want to say hi to you guys in the chat room, Pat and Rennie. Uh, they're there's a lot of things building up in wrestling. I'll start off with last night since it's freshest in my mind. We had, I think, a pretty good SmackDown, but we started up with, unfortunately, the bad news. We didn't have this as of last week, but it did happen a week ago, Friday, and SmackDown. The interim WWE Women's Champion, Chelsea Green's dealing with an injury. She announced last weekend that she suffered a broken orbital bone when she and Tiffany Stratton faced Fallon Henry and Lainey Reed on last Friday's SmackDown. And she's now Chelsea Green. It's Nick Aldis came out last night. It looked like he wanted her to give him the belt, and then he kind of changed his mind. So Chelsea Green is reportedly expected to remain the interim women's champ despite suffering the broken orbital bone, and you can see it in her face. Obviously, the makeup girl, whoever does the makeup for wrestlers, only did one side of her face, so it looked like you could see that there was a damage, but it's a broken orbital bone. It's obviously under the skin. She's expected to be back. She's going to work through it. He gave her 30 days to be able to get to defend the title, and he didn't care if she had a mask on or not. We've seen Chelsea with a mask before, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's how she does make it back with the little padded mask that she wore. Like you might remember the Undertaker. He wore one of those at one time too. But he gave her 30 days, and she's not going to miss TV. So we'll see how they go with that. But it's truly bad news every time. And Chelsea kind of came out and said that in the beginning of the promo on SmackDown last night, that every time something good would happen in her career, she'd take a step back. And that I remember she had problems with her ankle. She was supposed to be in a high profile match at WrestleMania, and then the ankle injury. So she's on the mend, but she will not drop the title, they will not. Yeah, I mean, she just won it as an interim title. I mean, I can't imagine that they would have another tournament and give it to someone else. I mean, I mean, in pure logic, you could give it to the person that she beat to win it. But I think it's a good idea. We'll see her hold it. She's better on the mic. The wrestling matches are fine, but she actually was the cause of Tiffany Stratton dropping her belt last night because she came out to second her, and then she was threatened. And when she was threatened, JC Jane picked up the win over obviously over Tiffany Stratton, and now we have a new WWE Women's United States Championship. It's really weird. Last night we had two title changes on SmackDown. We had the tag titles going to the MFTs, and I mean, as soon as the matches were done, they didn't get any time to celebrate. They immediately were backstage with an interview or a segment. So, and they did that for both of the interviews last night, or both of the title changes last night. So I thought I found that very interesting. Nobody really got to reap it in with the crowd. I mean, obviously, they both were heel groups that won the title or heel wrestlers. So maybe they don't get a chance to get booed while they're walking out. But I found that very interesting. But it's sad news for Chelsea Green. I mean, she's not lying when in that promo when she said every time something good happens, something bad follows it up. And 1 week after, it's almost, I hate to say this in comparison, but CM Punk won the AEW title twice and was injured immediately following at least the first one. He came out and wrestled a match on Dynamite and was hurt less than a week after winning the title, and he had to relinquish it. And then everything went to HE double hockey sticks with his run in AEW at the time. But I found it very interesting that I don't want to compare Chelsea Green. Obviously, she's loved by everybody. Announcers, good guys, bad guys. Everyone loves Chelsea Green. I really would like to see and I think you could feel that there was a heel move up building up between her and Tiffany Stratton that would happen eventually. Now that I guess that's put in check until Chelsea Green can actually wrestle again. So being that case, we send our best out to Chelsea Green. Matt Cardona came out to defend her and getting in a match with Gunther last night because Gunther came out to apparently pick on Chelsea Green. And but then Gunther got a win over Matt Cardona immediately after that. So that was about the excitement of SmackDown in general. But I did want to bring up because we whether we like the WWE or not, everybody likes Chelsea Green, at least in the world of wrestling. She's definitely been one of those people who you root for, and all the way back to the Divas or the Tough Enough show that she was on, the one that they had Hogan on until they erased him from WWE. He was him and Saraya or Paige were like the commentators. She was like on that original show. You can go back and see the videos and stuff. It definitely is. She's come a long way, and kudos to her. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I eventually see her coming out with a mask. I mean, she had one on before when she had issues. So, but that's a bummer. And like I said, we send our best to Chelsea Green. So let me get back to the SmackDown. The probably the best part for me, at least as a fan and someone who does a show like this, was the CM Punk face to face with Kevin Owens. And 2 weeks in a row, man, they knocked it out of the park with these promos. But I gotta believe there's a little bit of truth into what Kevin Owens tells a story about when CM Punk was the big kid on the block coming to visit the indie that he was working at, and how he got dressed down in front of the locker room by CM Punk. And he never forgot that. And then, obviously Punk's like, well, you've been holding on that for 20 years or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but he's like, look where I am now, and it's like, as they were both in the ring, it was a really good promo. I think there's there's some legitimate hard feelings there. I mean, obviously everybody can work together. They have to. It was, but I think that these promos are knocking it out of the park for this build-up match that will be happening next week. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to happen in Canada too, in Toronto. So, I mean, they're going to be in Buffalo for Monday Night Raw this Monday, 17th. And then SmackDown will be in Toronto on Friday. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think that, like Punk said when he was in the promo last night, that obviously we're going to be in your territory. So I'll be booed heavily. And it's like, I wonder, he kind of like, it's kind of hard to pick a good guy and a bad guy in this group because uh, Punk is like kind of being a little bit of a cocky face, and so he once again accepting credit for people like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens getting into WWE. I find it a very interesting run that they're having with this promo, and it's a shame that maybe this. I mean, in true I think in true fairness, I think Kevin Owens probably should beat CM Punk, but I think it'll there's what results in this matchup may cause what happened with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, where you had two faces, and then by the end of it, Randy Orton was the heel, and so maybe that will happen. One of them will pop out and pull a heel move to win it, or who know, or get assistance from somebody. So I don't know, but I think that I'm enjoying the buildup, and those two guys do have history. And we talked a little bit about last week on the show. That there's a lot of truth into the story that Kevin Owens told last night. If you missed the promo, go back and watch it because it's interesting because there was some stuff last week when they were cutting the promo face to face where the mic wasn't by neither of their mouths and their mouths were moving. And I'm wondering if that's like for Unreal Season 4, because now after some of the stuff we saw from Unreal Season 3 with the non-microphoned mic pickup of the wrestlers in the ring talking to each other with CM Punk saying, he's going to miss John Cena before, they were supposed to wrestle. I think that we're going to get that situation, and it's like, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it looks like it builds up to an Unreal Season 4 or Unreal Season something where they're going to use footage with those guys talking to each other without the mics near their mouths. So I don't know, but I'm kind of interested to see because they were very biting back and forth, and next week we get a result. So we'll see what happens in Toronto next week between CM Punk and Kevin Owens. Everyone, Kevin Owens obviously gets a huge pop. So did Punk coming out, but I think Punk played like the cocky good guy, and I think that almost is like a heelish thing. I'm just saying. I mean, Punk does both well. He does heel and face very well. So that is too. We'll talk about that after next Friday. So hopefully the guys will all be back so that we can get into some deep conversations about that, which is exciting for WWE. They've been kind of having, and we've complained, and I'm sure people have complained about their lack of storyline, endearing storylines to the people and stuff. But this is a good one. I mean, this is, you can't run a whole company on one big storyline, but I think that a lot of people are, I think, maybe more interested in Punk and Kevin Owens than we are Roman Reigns and LA Knight. But I give them kudos, LA Knight. I mean, maybe they're finally giving in to what the people have been chanting about, even though LA Knight does make some goofs in the ring once in a while. But, I mean, everybody does. You might have seen Dynamite last week where Chris Jericho he was wrestling, who was he wrestling? But he put him in it was one of Don Callis's guys. He put him in the sharpshooter, and he wasn't close enough to the rope. So Don Callis hopped in the ring because he was supposed to interfere, and then immediately hopped back out. And then Jericho slid the hold back to the edge of the rope so that he could get hit in the face with a screwdriver from Don Callis. So, it was interesting, seeing that, people make mistakes, it was just a placing in the ring that happened on Dynamite, but it was like a super sore thumb sticking out. It's like, as soon as I saw it, and there's been a lot, if you watch Botchamania, man, they've had, it's a great YouTube show. It goes about half an hour, but it's called Botchamania for a reason. You do get a lot of indie stuff on it, but you do get WWE when they make big mistakes. People, not being in the right spot, or people making mistakes landing on top of someone else. So definitely check that out. But yeah, that was a Botchamania moment that I'm sure will show up in the next episode of Chris Jericho, uh, telling Don Callis to get out of the ring and then sliding the guy over to the edge so he could put him back in the sharpshooter closer to the rope so he could get hit in the head with a screwdriver. And by the way, I think did I talk about it? Oh yeah, I did last week. Chris Jericho was supposed to be in Rochester, couldn't get a flight out here. There've been issues with planes. A lot of people have been having issues getting around the country from the West Coast to the East Coast. He finally did make it. He said to Rochester at 1 a.m. It was way after the band was done, but he had two other gigs around here, so I know that. And they were honoring the tickets from Rochester at the two other gigs. So I saw that they had. I saw a friend of mine, Bart, had gone and posted some videos from the show. So of Jericho's band with Jericho with them. So he looked tired though, man. Jericho's got to get his sleep because he can't be going West Coast to East Coast to West Coast back out, back and forth because they were in Vegas this past Wednesday. So came all the way out here for a weekend and then it's got to fly back. Hopefully they straighten the airplane issues out. I know a lot had to do with was it I don't remember what the issues were with the flights. There was something. Oh, the weather has been terrible. That's for sure. That's one of the things, and obviously a lot of fires going on in California as well. So, but some other news, big debut, something we've talked about before. Zilla fought another Samoan in the bloodline, we'll say, finally shows up after it had been a year since Zilla had left Game Changer Wrestling after he had been here in Rochester. It was like his last match with them, and now he finally debuts. He finally shows up on NXT this past week, and he gets involved in Cruz Montana's match. And they have a history, obviously. Mike Santana, Cruz Montana, they have a history, obviously, and so that I think that's where they're going with that in NXT. But Zilla Fatu does make an appearance finally in WWE. So now I don't know how many Samoans there are left, but I mean they all got kids too. So eventually they'll be coming up. But right now they are dominating. I mean Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and now Zilla Fatu. I can see them eventually coming together. They. I wonder if Zilla Fatu he could have been added a long time ago to the bloodline, and they kind of held off for a while. Maybe he needed more seasoning. I'm not sure, but he did show up this past week on at the very end of NXT and they called him Zilla Fatu, so he did go by that name. So it was like the Cruz Montana Grayson Waller match was going on in NXT, and it was the winner of that was going to be the number one contender to Tony D'Angelo's NXT Championship. But of course, the match ended in a disqualification after Fatu hit the ring and attacked both competitors. He followed up with splashes to Montana and Waller before turning his attention to D'Angelo at ringside. Unlike some recent WWE signings who have debuted under new identities, Vic Joseph specifically identified Fatu as Zilla Fatu on commentary. So I don't think, they didn't, Cruz Montana didn't have a name after first showing up, Mike Santana, Cruz Montana, it rhymes. So I guess, it's maybe it'll flow a little bit easier. But yeah, he didn't have a name until the second week. But Zilla Fatu definitely has a name, and we'll see. I don't know. You start in NXT, and you could easily be called up to the Bloodline. But right now, it looks like they want to do some stuff with Zilla in NXT. Might as well bolster NXT. And Zilla Fatu has been, had limited matches just a year or two ago. So that's probably why they wanted to get some more seasoning in Zilla. But finally does make the appearance, and something that we suspected was going to happen a long time ago, and it just happened this past week on NXT. Am I shocked that it's NXT? Not really. I mean, where else are you going to go? I think the Bloodline really has things set for a while how it's going to go with the Usos and the Roman Reigns. And now after last week, obviously Solo Sequoia or Jacob Fatu is part of the Bloodline, and now Solo lost on Monday night and has to become a part of the Bloodline. I see how Going to see how obviously they're going to try to. I mean, he's still getting over as a face. How are they going to, wreck him being reintroduced into the bloodline? That's a good question. It's a good question. I don't, I guess we'll have to watch Monday, but it's very reluctant. Obviously, it's weird in the world of wrestling when you lose, you have to join the group that beats you. I mean, that's not always the case, but if you're Samoan, apparently it is. So it's happened two times in a row now with Jacob Fatu and now Solo Sequoia, and who knows, you could put Zilla Fatu in there too. Yeah, just like a takeover, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I was going to do a little bit of a catch up on All In, but I think I'll talk about first about some theories we've had about the New Day joining AEW and how they're going to join them. And it might have been evident if you watched this past week's Dynamite when Swerve Strickland came out and kind of got into it a little bit with everybody, but got into it with what's their name from the trios? The what are they called? Hold on. This is where I need the other guys because my brain doesn't move that fast sometimes. But there was a little confrontation between Swerve and Ricochet. I'm sorry, I can't say that. Maybe I can. Ricochet and his group. And he said, he goes, "You're not a trio. Get to step in." That's what he said to him. And when I heard that, immediately he's like, "Oh, now we have a way for the New Day to show up." And it's like, or whatever they're going to call them, Kofi and Austin Creed or whatever, Austin, whatever Xavier's name is going to be. But we're 2 weeks away from All In. I have a feeling that's where it'll debut. Maybe this week we'll get Swerve Strickland saying, "I've got some guys, to take you guys on," and we will see what happens. But I think that that immediately struck DC. He had texted me. He's like, "This is it. This is the way they're coming in." So it looks like Swerve will be joined by whatever the New Day will be calling themselves. Kofi can still, I believe, go. His legal name is Kofi. And like I said, I don't know about Xavier Austin Creed or whatever he comes in as well. We knew last week both those guys joined the Jarrett Cruise for next year, so we knew that it was a matter of time before AEW starts. So, but I think that's exciting news because I mean they're coming in and begin. They wanted them as a trios, and obviously Big E is still under contract to WWE and can't wrestle or ever again. He had to retire. So so Swerve will be the Big E of these guys, and we'll see how they get to that point. But that was pretty evident this past week of that's their avenue into becoming part of AEW. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm reading the chat room while I'm like blabbing on. I can see everyone's in there. Chuck and Pat and Rennie, we appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being here every week. And so, but yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, obviously New Day is coming. So, without a doubt, they're going to be part. And it's interesting. Like New Day, there's other people that are available too now that can come in who we'll see if they bring any of those other people that had been cut. But, some of the other people who were cut after WrestleMania have now started picking up indie shows and stuff like Zelina, and you'll see them now start to populate the independent scene. So you get some surprises at maybe some of your indie shows. That'd definitely be a cool thing is to have, a surprise from someone who is a free agent. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else I want to talk about. So we did, the Osprey Omega buildup. And it was weird. We had a trio in the booth this week, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and Paul Wright. And it's like, and Paul Wright. And that was the announcers obviously for this week's Dynamite. I don't know where Taz was, but I don't know. I'm very lukewarm on that group. I'm not. It's tough to get to insert someone into your announce crew and make it not sound, pardon me, make it not sound, or make it sound natural, like with the interactions and stuff. And sometimes I think Paul was just inserting things, lines in, and then he'd be very quiet most of the time. So, but thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rennie. You guys, you are listening. So, uh, that's for sure. Big E. He's just Rennie said Big E will never leave WWE. Of course, he will not. He's got a great job doing pregame shows, and it could our pregame commentary. It could lead up to a lot more, but he also broke his neck and was broken by on TV by somebody. And so, WWE, of course, will always take care of them, and, you always think people are retired forever. You never know. 10 years down the line, innovations in medicine, I mean, we saw Edge come back. He had spinal stenosis. That's pretty serious a deal. He came back. I mean, he didn't break his neck, but that was over, repetitive times landing on it. You know, Big E, I'm not really sure. We never seen, any specifics of the broken neck beyond just, I think the vertebrae being merged in the top by the base of his skull. But I'm a big fan. I do like him a lot. I'm happy for him when he's happy. And it's like, it's going to be weird when the New Day kind of turned heel on him and kicked him out. It just kind of, I think it changed the whole dynamic of the New Day. Uh, he really hadn't been a part of them for a while, but they brought him out, and I think they were celebrating his birthday or something, and then they kicked him out. So it was they were it was he was a former WWE champion too. I definitely understand that. So, and he definitely can contribute on the mic. You are definitely right, Rennie. So, but I could have used him instead of Paul White. Okay, this past week. It just thank goodness that's not the regular lineup there for Dynamite. Um, well, relatively, it's not the we get it once in a while, but it's very dark days kind of stuff, because dark, you'd have like the B announcers doing stuff. I always kind of like that. So that's really, I mean, all I want to talk about. Let me talk about, okay, one more thing before we get into the news. All In is like I said, it's less than 2 weeks away, and they've got some great matches lined up right now. There's just a couple that are not figured out yet. The Continental Challenge Cup finals are still to be determined in the next 2 weeks. So you definitely want to see that. We got to figure that out. But you're going to get Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita and Okada in a three-way. I mean, that right there already bought the ticket for me to watch it. And then we got Kevin Knight versus Darby Allin. Falls Count Anywhere, and they're in a big stadium. Who knows what could happen with that? Divine Dominion is going to be taking on the Brawling Birds. They announced that this past week. Andrade, if he makes it back, Andrade has, I think he got beat down by MJF 2 weeks ago, and then he like had some issues that he's got to not wrestle for a couple weeks, but he should be back for the Casino Gauntlet match that's going to be at and that's for a future shot of the AEW World Championship. So far, the only guys in there are Andrade and MJF. We got the tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. That's the Bucks versus Cage and Cope, two face groups. We'll see what happens with that. And Kenny Omega, obviously, Ospreay and Willow versus Mercedes Moné. We saw Mercedes Moné kind of advance that storyline by beating up Willow as Willow is about to be interviewed. That was I thought that was they built some heat. I don't it's interesting, the build up for big matches, how it's done differently right now in WWE with what's going on SmackDown with Punk and KO. They're not putting a hand on each other, but they're cutting promos on, and it's like and I'm enjoying that just as much as a physical altercation like we had with Mercedes and Willow this past week. It's like there's so many different ways to set up a good match, and it's like I mean, Mercedes is actually the underdog coming in, not the champion. So for once, so it's gonna be a great. We'll talk about it in depth next week, because wait a second, it's 2 weeks. It's the 30th, so it is technically 2 weeks, or 2 weeks and one day away. So wait a second, no, 2 weeks from today. Sorry. There'll probably be way more stuff added, and we do have a lot of buildup still to happen. But and like I said, I have a feeling we're going to see Swerve and the guys from the former New Day men making their debut in a trios match uh, against Ricochet and his guys. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just making a prediction, but I guess we'll have a couple weeks to build that up still. So I'm going to go through some news and then get out of here. I got roller derby today, so maybe it's not a bad thing if I get done a little bit early because I got to get my stuff together. Being the announcer, prepare as well as get dressed nice and everything, whatnot. But if you're going to watch Collision tonight, and I'll tell you this Collision was taped in Vegas last Wednesday, you're going to see Hangman Page, Brody King, and Bandito versus Jay Lethal, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson for the AEW Trios titles. You're going to have the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, Megan Bayne and Lena Cross in action. We're going to have Shibata versus Nigel McGuinness in a Continental Club first round match. Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong in a Continental Cup tournament first round match. And see, I didn't give anything away when I was talking about All In. See, Brian Cage versus Hechicero in a Continental Cup tournament first round match. And we got Mercedes Moné versus Zeta Steel. So that will be tonight at 8 o'clock on TNT if you want to watch that. And coming up on Dynamite this week, we only got a couple things. We've got that will be Wednesday. And that will be live from Baltimore, Maryland, Chesapeake Employees Insurance Arena. You got Maya World versus Chris Statlander versus Persephone versus Hikaru Shida in a four-way for the TBS Championship. The Continental Cup Tournament quarterfinals begin on Wednesday. If you're going to watch Monday Night Raw, it's going to feature two matches in the ongoing tournament to determine the next number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You're going to have Rey Fenix go one-on-one with El Fiscal in a tournament action, and you're going to have Dragon Lee will square off against El Hero de Wagner Jr. Yeah, say that 100 times in another qualifying match. Also announced Roman Reigns will be there. We haven't seen him. He wasn't there last week, so maybe he can come and make some comment. The new Solo Sequoia, the new member of the Bloodline. And that is going down on Monday night. If you watched SmackDown last night, you saw the MFTs, Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga, win the WWE World Tag Team Championships, beating Damian Priest and R-Truth and the War Raiders. It was a three-way for the titles. And like I said, as soon as that match was over, they went right to something backstage. So they didn't get a chance to celebrate, but the MFTs are now the tag champs. Haku was out there with them as well, so that was pretty cool. And then you also saw on SmackDown last night, Fallon Hensley and Laney Reed were banned, Fatal Influence members banned from ringside. And JC Jane took on and won and is the new brand new Tiffany Stratton. Sorry, she's the new brand new WWE's Women's United States Championship. Immediately go to backstage thing, so nobody gets to celebrate it all. I did mention Andrade was not on Dynamite this week. There's a little bit of an injury update for Andrade following AEW Grand Slam in Mexico. Andrade, he competed at August 5th, defeating Ciampa and Commander in a three-way that secured the number one entry spot in the Casino Gauntlet at the AEW All In. Despite picking up the victory, Andrade revealed on social media that he's not been feeling well since the show. He still fulfilled a pair of scheduled appearances for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in Canada before returning home to Miami, where he went to see a doctor. According to Andrade, the issue is not considered serious, although he expects to be sidelined anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. There's been no indication regarding whether Andrade's status will impact his scheduled participation in the Casino Gauntlet at AEW's All In London on August 30th at Wembley Stadium. So it will keep you notified on that when we hear anything. If you're a fan of the WWE LFG show, that would be on the weekends on Arts and Entertainment Station, whatever that may be. A couple of the guys from that show are making a move to the Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, with one already appearing on the show this past week on AAA. If you watch the show, it is on YouTube. You can watch it for free. They had a mystery wrestler emerge from the crowd and attack a Psycho Clown during his triple threat match against El Fiscal and Cruz del Toro. While the wrestler was not identified during the broadcast, he has since been confirmed as LFG competitor Drake Moreau. And Moreau isn't the only LFG talent headed to AAA, as Elijah Holyfield is also expected to make the move. Holyfield is, of course, the son of legendary boxer Evander Holyfield. So he worked under The Undertaker during his time on the LFG, the series. And of course, The Undertaker's kind of running AAA a lot right now. There's no current word on when Holyfield will make his AAA debut, but I'm sure it'll be coming up soon. For those of you guys out there who are missing the 3 hours of SmackDown on Friday night, and I'll be honest with you, I don't miss it because it goes really late, but I miss it because there's less there's less people involved on the show with 1 hour less of broadcast time. So there's some people that are being left out of storylines and stuff. And so I think that's one bad thing about not having the 3 hours, because they got so used to, having all these different things happening, and different groups being involved. And now they have to cut that down. But for those of you who are sad about that, we're going to go back to 3 hours on January 8th. You need more Mr. Iguana on TV. Thank you, Rennie. Mr. Iguana is kind of weird. He's like very Santino Marella-ish, and I know we had that confrontation with the Cobra versus the Iguana, but yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Mr. Iguana because the very first time he came and did Monday Night Raw, he had like two goofs in the match, and it's like that's all a lot of people. Your first impression is like how is a big impression to a lot of fans. And I mentioned it because that's what I remember is he had two goofs in the match. I think he fell off the rope on one of them, and I can't remember what else. But so I mean, I know he's a big star there. He's super over, and but that unfortunately when he came to do those, and he was even part of the Royal Rumble this past year. So no one's holding it against him. It's just I mean, obviously rings are different size everywhere you are, and you never know when you get up on the top rope, but. I root for him. It's like he is a comedy act. You are correct, or that's what a lot of people are saying. Uh, but that's a good point out there, Rennie. Jim Ross, I remember we talked about he was having brain surgery the last couple of weeks. He underwent successful brain surgery on Wednesday. Conrad Thompson, who co-hosts his podcast as well as about 100 other wrestlers' podcasts, shared the good news on social media. He's happy to report that JR had a successful procedure. He said he was having a stent put into his brain to release fluid or something like that. He goes, I heard back from his lovely daughter this morning and that everything went well, and good old JR is expected to be back home by Friday. So he's home now. Congratulations, JR, for getting through that. Hopefully it solves your issues you were having. I got a couple pieces of news, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Pat McAfee, you remember him? You might remember him. What's going on with Blake Monroe? Good question, Pat. I don't know what's going on with Blake Monroe. We got these promos and everything, and then just nothing's happened yet. I don't have any idea what's going on with Blake Monroe right now. I feel bad. There's some people that are lost, like Julia. What happened to Julia? She got jobbed out in like 3 minutes to Lash Legend on TV a couple weeks ago. She was a champ at one time. So it's like, I don't know. I just think that's another bad thing about not having 3 hours of TV on Friday night is some of those people, were supposed to be, they got to find time to make the debuts and everything. And right now they're deep into these storylines. So these, the ones that are driving the shows right now, like on SmackDown, Punk and KO, as well as Cody, and now Randy Orton attacking him last night. Randy Orton, so they're really deep into those things. And then Chelsea Green, of course, had to come out and cut that was the beginning of the show last night, was the whole Chelsea Green, I broke my orbital bone, I don't want to lose my championship kind of deal. So, but so Blake will get in eventually, but yeah, they ran those promos thinking it was going to happen. And I feel bad because a lot of these people that they have signed contracts to, and just so that they didn't go to AEW, and then just haven't used them correctly since then. So it's been definitely a difficult situation for getting your foot in the door and then getting some TV time. So That's a good thing. So in January, when we go to 3 hours, maybe we'll have more time for Blake Monroe and some of these other, we haven't, when's the last time we saw Bailey? I know that Bailey has not signed a new contract with WWE. I'm sure there was one offered. And if it not, then she's going to ride out this contract until she can, join Mercedes Moné and AEW. And if that's the case, you're not going to see Bailey on TV until that contract is up. And I don't know what time, I don't know when it's up, but we're in August. It probably is up at the end of the year, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's another thing is, Bailey was on TV every week. And then, it's funny how the business world can immediately take her off TV. And there's a lot of people that love Bailey. So, so let me get back to Pat McAfee because I know I'm sorry, I got distracted by the comments, but Pat McAfee, uh, he has officially released his debut album. I didn't even know he was a musician. So McAfee dropped The Diary of a Polarizing Figure on Friday, just weeks after first announcing the project. The album is available to stream on YouTube and Spotify. The 14-track record clocks in at 42 minutes and marks McAfee's first full-length musical project. Former WWE commentator previously released his first single, Dookie, in 2025. Following the album's release, a number of personalities from across the sports world took to social media to react to McAfee's latest venture. McAfee also has not appeared for WWE since WrestleMania 42, where Randy Orton lost to Cody Rhodes, which, but ahead of the match, McAfee vowed that WWE fans would never see him again if Orton came up short, and he did. So McAfee has remained away from WWE programming since then. I know he probably was leaving anyways, but yeah, Brenny's mentioning that Matt Cardona came out and defend when Gunther was attacking Chelsea last night. Or I mean, he verbally berating her, we'll say. Matt Cardona came out and got in his face, and then they had a match, and then Matt lost to Gunther. But so Pat McAfee, I listened to a little bit of a song off it. If you like Jelly Roll and like kind of like that new country kind of sound, that could cross over to pop. That's what this sounds like. So, give it a try if you like that stuff. I don't hate McAfee. I mean, yes, he was in a picture this week with the president for some, getting kids involved in healthy things. I can't remember exactly what the name of the project was, but they try to get kids to go outside and play instead of like sitting on their phones all day, which, I work, my office is in a high school. So I definitely know what that's about, especially when you can't be on your phones, but because it made it illegal this past year. But Pat McAfee's he a very, very generous guy, and he makes a lot of money, and he's the future of ESPN, and now apparently the future of country music radio. So I wouldn't be surprised if you actually heard the song. It's not bad. Okay. It's not, it's rock. It's more rock, but it's definitely country. He's got the twang in it. So, on that note, I go to the last piece of news and we'll get out of here. All Elite Wrestling announced on Friday a special free AEW match day watch party that will be held in Fulham Pier, London's riverside destination for dining, wellness, and culture on Wednesday, 26th of August, 5 to 10 p.m. BST, which British Standard Time, maybe, as part of AEW's All In London Week, which will be starting very soon. The AEW Dynamite Match Day Watch Party will allow fans in attendance to watch that evening's edition of AEW Dynamite live from Glasgow, Scotland, on the big screen at the Fulham Pier. The event will be hosted by AEW stars Paul White and Jeff Jarrett, someone who won't be commentating that night, who will also be available for photo opportunities during the evening from 5:30 to 6:30. All fans interested in attending the free AEW Dynamite Match Day watch party at Fulham Pier may do so by registering myaew.com. Everyone in attendance must be registered, and it's free, so why not? Obviously London, All in London takes place Sunday, August 30th. Sorry, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow, pardon me. Live from Wembley Stadium. You can get tickets as well, and it'll be on HBO Max as well as on World Pay-Per-View, myaew.com. And that's about all I got going on for today. Rob Sanderson was going to come in and promote 2CW. They have their first show tonight of 3 that are coming up. Excuse me. This one's in Watertown, so it's a little bit of a cruise. He might be in transit. If he is, Rob, drive safe, have a good time. got a lot of great matches set for that. So the definitely for the 2CW show. So you definitely don't. Let's see if I can call some up right now before I let you guys go. But go catch your local indie. There's a bunch of indies going on that around here in the next few weeks. Obviously, let's see. So here it is, Squared Circle Wrestling. So I'll tell you who's wrestling tonight on this show. I think we've talked about it before, but I'll give you one last chance to know what's going on. All I got to do is read the poster board that Kurt Angle's going to be there. So that's pretty cool. It's called the North Country Chaos, and that's at the municipal Watertown municipal arena. You definitely don't want to miss that. And Kurt Angle will be there, as well as Dalton Castle versus Jay Freddy. You got Cedric Alexander versus Don Freeze, which Rob talked about Freeze about, and he said you don't want to miss this guy if you can catch him on an indie. Mike Skyros versus Eddie Edwards. We have Mercedes Martinez versus Alley Catch. Matt Taven versus Cheech, and the Backseat Boys versus High Seas. So that's some of what's going on. They're doing a meet and greet at 4. That's today. The show starts at 6. 2CWlive.com is where you can get your tickets. I believe it's being recorded for future broadcast. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you guys. Have a great wrestling Saturday. If you've got time, you want to come out and check out Roller Derby. If you're in Rochester, I'll be at the, like I said, the Minette Hall, the Dome Arena. The first game's at 4, second game's at 6, and it's the last games of the season. It will not interfere with my duties as a pain clinic announcer from now on. But you guys have a great week. Definitely check out all our socials. You're here on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. We're all over the place. Instagram as well. Pain Clinic _wrestling, I believe. Come be our friend and send us messages, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same, and we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Same bat channel. See ya.